Hyperlane has been listed on Bitget. The Hyper token has just started trading today, so I wanted to learn everything that I could about this project before I decided to put any money into it. So Hyperlane is the open interoperability framework to connect anywhere on chain. And so I grabbed this information from their website, and I grabbed everything from their documentation that I could find here, grabbed everything from their GitHub, and then I also grabbed everything from their blog, and I started building a custom knowledge base in this AI Google Notebook LM. And I also went over to YouTube and I searched out Hyperlane Crypto, and they've got a ton of really good resources going back years as this project has been in develop and building. So I was really happy to grab all of these resources and bring them into our Google LM for studying. Once I had all the resources put into the knowledge base, then I created a briefing document, a frequently asked question, a study guide, and a timeline. And then I asked the AI to explain what the Hyperlane network is, what problem does it solve or benefit does it provide, and how can users, developers, or investors seek to make money from involvement with this project or token. And I put all of that information together and I created a really simple PDF document, and there's a link down below this video so that you can learn more about Hyperlane yourself. And then finally, I had the AI create a simple podcast that explains the entire thing, including how users, developers, and investors can make money by getting involved with this project. If you like this podcast style explanation of new coin listings, be sure to smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Let's dig in.
Ever feel like your digital assets are just, well, stuck? You've got stuff on Ethereum, maybe some on Solana, you're trying out Arbitrum, but moving things between them, it feels clunky, right?
Yeah, or expensive, like your crypto's trapped on different islands.
Exactly, islands. And that fragmentation, it's only getting worse with all these layer ones, layer twos, app chains popping up.
It's a real headache for users and for developers too. So much complexity.
Well, that's what we're diving into today. We're looking at a project called Hyperlane. They're basically trying to build highways between these blockchain islands.
Right, connecting everything up, making value and information flow, freely across this whole multi-chain mess.
And we know you, our listeners, are curious about making sense of this. So we'll break down what Hyperlane actually is, what problems it's really solving, and why it seems to be getting some traction.
And yeah, for the financially curious among you, we'll definitely touch on how getting involved, maybe with a potential token down the line, could present some, opportunities.
We've pulled this together from talks with Hyperlane co-founder John Call, some technical insights from their lead Trevor, plus various updates from the team and community discussions.
Lots to unpack there.
Okay, let's jump in. At its heart, what is Hyperlane?
Okay, so fundamentally, Hyperlane is an open interoperability framework. And the really key word here is permissionless.
Permissionless. Okay, what does that mean in practice?
It means anyone, literally anyone, can deploy Hyperlane on any blockchain environment, layer one, rollup, app chain, whatever, without needing to ask anyone for permission.
Okay.
John Cole, the co-founder, put it really simply. Anyone can deploy this thing, operate this thing, and monetize it. They never need to talk to me.
Wow, okay. So no central gatekeeper deciding who gets to connect.
Exactly. Think EVM chains like Ethereum or Polygon, SVM chains like Solana, even the Cosmos ecosystem. They can all be connected up by anyone using the Hyperlane framework.
That sounds powerful. It kind of reminds me of that universal translator idea for blockchains I heard about, making them all speak the same language, basically.
That's a great analogy. Yeah, enabling seamless communication, seamless asset transfers, getting rid of those borders between the islands.
Which brings us to the why. Why do we need this?
Yeah.
I mean, we touched on the fragmentation.
Right. And that fragmentation isn't just an abstract problem. For you, the user, it means juggling different wallets, different tools, finding liquidity split across chains. It's a pain.
Yeah, definitely felt that.
And Hyperlane's mission, as one source put it, is to make it so that developers and users don't have to care about which chain they are on, just abstracting all that complexity away.
Making life easier for everyone involved. Got it. So how does it actually work under the hood? What are the tech pieces?
Okay, there are a few key components. First up, you've got mailboxes.
Mailboxes.
Yeah, think of them as smart contracts. There's one deployed on each chain that Hyperlane supports. They're like secure messaging hubs.
Okay, like post offices on each island.
Exactly. They handle sending, receiving, and really importantly, verifying messages that cross between chains. Each message gets a unique ID and something called a nonce.
A nonce, like a one-time code.
Pretty much, yeah. It prevents someone from maliciously replaying the same message or transaction on the destination chain. Security measure.
Makes sense. So the mailbox sends the message. How does the other end know it's legit? How's it verified?
That's where the next piece comes in. Interchange security modules, or ISMs. This is where Hyperlane gets really interesting with its modular security.
Modular security sounds flexible.
It really is. Trevor, the tech lead, described them as little Legos of security modules. Instead of being forced into one security model, developers can actually choose how their cross-chain messages get verified.
Choose, like what kind of choices?
Well, they could use their own set of validators, maybe rely on a trusted third-party system like a multi-sig, or even tie security economically to staking tokens. They can pick and mix or even build custom security modules.
The security Legos. I like that. So you can tailor the security to your app's specific needs, its risk level.
Precisely. It's not one size fits all, which is a big deal.
Okay, so mailboxes send and receive. ISMs verify. Who actually carries the message across the highway?
That role falls to the relayers. This is an open role. Anyone can theoretically run a relayer. They're responsible for picking up the message from the source chain mailbox and delivering it to the destination chain mailbox.
Okay, so potentially a decentralized network of deliverers. Though I remember hearing relayers can be complex to get right, economically and technically.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge in any cross-chain system. Ensuring relayers are reliable, incentivized properly, and don't become a bottleneck or point of failure is crucial. Hyperlane aims to make this an open market.
Got it. Mailboxes, ISMs, relayers. What about moving actual stuff like tokens, my ETH for some SOL or an NFT?
Right, that's where warp roots come in. The Hyperlane team calls them the Uniswap for bridges.
Okay, intriguing. Uniswap for bridges.
Yeah, it's their permissionless way to bridge tokens, ERT20s, NFTs between chains. The idea is to enable anyone to create a route for a specific token between two chains, fostering liquidity and potentially creating arbitrage opportunities, much like Uniswap did for trading on a single chain.
So decentralized cross-chain swaps, basically, with potentially better prices due to competition.
That's the goal. Low slippage transfers. And developers or liquidity providers could even generate yield or set custom fees on these routes they create.
Very cool. Okay, one last piece. Gas fees. Dealing with gas on multiple chains is always annoying.
They thought of that too with interchain gas payments. This feature basically automates paying the gas fees needed for the cross-chain action. The user doesn't have to manually get tokens on the destination chain just to pay for the transaction to complete.
Oh, that's huge for user experience. Just simplifies things massively.
Definitely. It smooths out one of the biggest friction points in cross-chain interactions.
Okay, so mailboxes, ISMs, relayers, warp routes for tokens, and interchain gas payments for fees. That's the core toolkit.
Yep, those are the building blocks working together to create this interoperability layer.
All right, we get what it is. Let's talk benefits and actual use cases. What does this mean for users and devs?
The biggest benefit, really, is tackling that fragmentation we keep mentioning. Hyperlane lets developers build interchain applications.
Interchain apps. So apps that aren't stuck on just one chain.
Exactly. Think about a lending protocol that can tap into liquidity pools on Ethereum, Solana, and Arbitrum simultaneously, or a game where your items or currency can move with you between different game worlds running on totally separate blockchains.
Or maybe an NFT marketplace showing listings from everywhere.
Precisely. Aggregating things that are currently siloed, it opens up a huge design space.
And that modular security, the ISMs, how does that help developers in practice?
It gives them flexibility. They're not locked into a single security model they might not trust, or that might be overkill or maybe not enough for their specific application. They can match the security to the value being transferred or the action being taken.
More control. Makes sense. And how widespread is Hyperlane now? How many chains are connected?
It's growing fast. One source mentioned over 140 chains supported as of early 2025.
Wow, 140. That's up quite a bit from the 50 or so mentioned just a few months before that.
Yeah, rapid expansion. And it covers a wide range: EVM chains, Solana, SVM, Cosmos chains. They're aiming for broad compatibility.
Are big projects actually using this stuff already? Any examples?
Oh yeah, quite a few integrations are live. DIA, the Oracle provider, is using it to get their data feeds onto like over 150 chains. That's massive reach.
Okay, oracles need cross-chain reach. Makes sense.
Treasure, the gaming ecosystem, uses it for cross-chain game economies. Skip Go Fast uses it for quick EVM to Cosmos bridging with something called Intense. Velodrome teamed up with them for Superlane, focusing on Optimism superchain.
So DeFi gaming infrastructure, it's pretty broad.
Definitely. There's also Caldera's MetaLayer, Elixir expanding their stablecoin DUSD to say, Fusionist bridging USDC with warp roots, LogX doing interchain trading, Renzo expanding their liquid restaking token PZF,
Okay, lots of activity.
and Stride using it to bring their liquid staked TTIA to other chains in the modular ecosystem. It's becoming a key piece of plumbing for many projects.
You mentioned intents there with Skip Go Fast. And I saw something about an open intents framework Hyperlane supports. What's that about?
Right, intents are becoming a big theme. The Open Intents Framework, or OIF, is this collaborative effort. Ethereum Foundation, Hyperlane, lots of layer 2s are involved. The goal is to standardize how developers build applications based on user intent.
Intent meaning like what the user wants to happen, not the specific steps.
Exactly. Instead of saying bridge X token from chain A to chain B, then swap it for Y token on chain B, the user just expresses the intent. I want to end up with Y token on chain B, starting with X token on chain A.
And Hyperlane helps make that happen behind the scenes.
Yeah, its messaging system allows specialized solvers to see that intent and figure out the best way to execute it across chains, handling the bridging and swapping automatically, much simpler for the user.
That sounds like the future, honestly. Less clicking, more just stating your goal. What about interchain accounts and queries? Saw those mentioned too.
Good catch. Interchain accounts let a smart contract on one chain actually control an account, like a wallet, on a different chain.
Whoa, remote control for wallets across chains.
Kind of, yeah. Imagine a DAO on Ethereum being able to vote directly in a proposal on a Polygon protocol without manually bridging voting tokens or anything. It controls an account over there.
That could unlock some serious cross-chain governance stuff.
For sure. And then interchain queries let a contract on one chain read data or state from another chain permissionlessly.
Like looking up information on another blockchain.
Exactly. Think about getting a Chainlink price feed from Ethereum directly into your app running on Arbitrum without needing a specific bridge just for that data. It's super useful for cross-chain oracles or apps that need info from other networks.
Okay, so accounts let you act on other chains. Queries let you read from other chains. That's a powerful combo.
Definitely. It really rounds out the toolkit for building apps that aren't limited by single chain boundaries.
All right, so you've got a much clearer picture now of what Hyperlane is, the tech behind it, and the kinds of problems it solves and applications it enables. Remember that frustration John Cole had with the first clunky bridge he used? Hyperlane's really trying to fix that fundamental user experience issue.
And speaking of navigating this space smoothly...
Yes. If you're trading across different assets and chains, don't forget you can save 20% on trading fees using our Bitget deal link. It's right there in the show notes. Help support the deep dive too.
Okay, time for the question on many minds. How might someone actually, benefit financially or find opportunities within this Hyperlane ecosystem?
Yes, the how to make money angle. Let's start with regular users. Is there a token? An airdrop, maybe?
There is a lot of chatter and, frankly, speculation in the community about a potential future airdrop.
Okay, speculation. What are people doing based on that?
You see people actively using apps built on Hyperlane, bridging assets, using warp roots, maybe participating in their Discord or community initiatives, kind of hoping these actions might qualify them if, and it's a big if, a token is launched and distributed based on usage.
Right, so standard airdrop farming behavior, but crucially, nothing confirmed by the team.
Exactly. The sources emphasize the team seems really focused on the tech, on building, rather than hyping a token right now. So it's all user speculation, no guarantees whatsoever.
Good to be clear on that.
Okay.
What about developers? Where are the opportunities for builders?
For devs, Hyperlane seems like a really interesting playground. First off, just building those interchain applications we talked about, using the tools warp routes, interchain accounts, queries to create novel cross-chain features.
Lowering the barrier to build complex stuff.
Yeah. And because it's permissionless, developers can actually be the ones to deploy Hyperlane onto new chains, potentially becoming key players in connecting that new ecosystem.
Oh, interesting. Like bringing Hyperlane to the next hot layer 1 or layer 2.
Right. Plus, with the modular security, there's an opportunity to innovate there. Developers could create and offer specialized ISMs, maybe focusing on super high security or perhaps very low-cost verification for specific use cases.
Building custom security modules as a service, almost.
Potentially. And since it's open source, devs can contribute directly to the core protocol or build valuable tooling and infrastructure around it. Lots of ways to get involved and potentially create value.
Sounds like a rich ecosystem for developers. What about investors looking at the project itself?
Well, obviously this isn't investment advice, But it is notable that Hyperlane raised a significant seed around $18.5 million.
Yeah, 18.5 million is serious seed money. Who was involved?
Some big names in the VC space: Variant, Galaxy Digital, CoinFund, Circle Ventures. Having that kind of backing suggests that sophisticated investors see real potential in Hyperlane's approach to solving the interoperability problem.
So strong signal of industry belief in the vision.
You could interpret it that way. And combine that with the growing list of integrations we discussed, it paints a picture of a project gaining momentum and potentially building significant network effects and long-term value. But again, potential.
Understood. Strong backing, growing adoption, indicators to watch.
Exactly. It's all about creating that more connected, more efficient blockchain world. That's the core value proposition.
John Cole had that interesting second-order effect idea about why interoperability gets more valuable over time. Can you remind us of that?
Yeah, his point was basically, as more and more layer ones launch, the unique groundbreaking value of each individual new L1 kind of decreases, right? They start to look more similar.
Okay, diminishing returns for new chains.
But in that world, with tons of chains, the value of something that can seamlessly connect all of them, that value goes up dramatically. Interoperability like Hyperlane becomes essential infrastructure, not just a nice to have.
Makes total sense. The glue becomes more valuable as there are more things to stick together. How does Hyperlane stack up against, say, other bridges or interop solutions people might know?
Well, without getting into a full comparison of every solution, a key difference often highlighted is that permissionless aspect we keep coming back to. Anyone can deploy it. Some other systems might have more gates or requirements for adding support for a new chain.
So more open and decentralized in its expansion.
That's the idea. And also the modular security, the ISMs, the Legos, gives developers that flexibility which might not be present in systems with a more fixed or monolithic security model.
Openness and flexibility seem like the key differentiators then.
They definitely appear to be core tenets of Hyperlane's design and philosophy, fostering a more adaptable and potentially more resilient way to connect these blockchains.
Okay, let's wrap this up. To summarize, Hyperlane is tackling blockchain fragmentation head-on with a permissionless modular framework for interoperability. It's enabling these new interchain applications.
Right, solving real pain points. The main story right now is the tech, the flexibility it offers developers, and the growing ecosystem using it.
It's building those highways, making the islands feel less isolated.
So here's something to chew on. The internet really took off when different networks started talking to each other, right? TCP/IP, connecting everything. What happens when blockchains can do that, truly permissionlessly?
Yeah. What kinds of innovation, what completely new applications that we can't even imagine today will emerge when these digital islands become more like a unified continent?
That's the big question Hyperlane is trying to help answer.
If this deep dive got you curious, definitely check out hyperlane.xyz. Explore their docs, maybe jump into their community.
And don't forget that Bitget deal link in the show notes if you want those trading fee discounts.
Absolutely. And please, subscribe to the deep dive so you don't miss our next exploration into the wild world of blockchain tech.